To receive this award is such an honor because it means we're recognized internationally.
This is such a great ecosystem of learning ecosystem of people who are working for the betterment of human beings.
I've never received such professional training in my life.
I have found people coming to me, which is really nice, asking me how they can do things better.
We have found partner organizations in 25 different countries.
Being part of this Intercultural Leaders Network means that I'm part of something greater than all of us put together. Something which is about making the world a better place during these challenging times.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Intercultural Innovation Award 2021, a partnership between the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations and the BMW Group. It's a pleasure to have you all here in person, joining us or virtually from anywhere around the world to celebrate innovative grassroots projects that really work together on an intercultural dialogue, work towards a socially inclusive world by building mutual respect amongst people from different cultural and religious identities, rejecting violent extremism and embracing diversity. And embracing diversity is what the world needs and what our culture needs. A topic that I have been confronted with my entire life. Due to my international and intercultural background, I know what it means to be the only one in a room who looks different. And I also do know what it means to be the only one who has a father from a completely different culture. And I also have to say, I know what it means if somebody gives you that look, or that insensitive comment, or even discrimination and racism. But I also know what it means if somebody stands up for you. And don't get me wrong, I had a very happy life and I was always blessed to live in an inclusive culture and had to have great people around me. But out of my experience, I can tell you that that one moment of hatred can stay with someone as a wonderful moment for your entire life. And to be involved in such a project that really focuses on having a positive impact on the world and bringing down the walls that divide people is a truly inspiring experience. And for me, I'm really greatly honored to be your master of ceremonies for this very special evening today and to just give my humble contribution to the Intercultural Innovation Award 2021. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the location where we are in today. Because at the end of the day, we are here at Expo 2020 with the theme and the vision, connecting minds and creating the future. And this week, Expo is also celebrating the Week of Tolerance and Inclusivity on the margins of the International Day of Tolerance, which is just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So therefore, now, before I invite the patrons of the event to the stage, I invite each and every one of you, wherever you are around the world, to share your comments, share your thoughts, and share, of course, videos from this day on social media with the hashtag IIAward2021. Let's get the message out. And I would also like to take another moment to acknowledge the presence of Her Excellency Reem Al Hashmi, the Minister of State for International Cooperation and Director General of Expo 2020. And acknowledge as well the presence of His Excellency, the Secretary General of the Higher Committee of Human Fraternity, Judge Mohammed Abdel Salam. And now, without further ado, let me welcome to the stage His Excellency Mr. Miguel Ángel Moratinos, High Representative for the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, and Mrs. Ilka Horstmeier, Member of the Board of Management of BMW AG, Human Resources and Labor Relations Director. Welcome. Well, first of all, let me congratulate you. 10 years of partnership between you and AOC and BMW Group. What a remarkable achievement, and we'll talk about that later. But first of all, I know that you both have an incredibly busy schedule. Did you get the chance and manage to see a little bit of Expo, Miguel Ángel?
Yes, of course. I've been already 3 days, and I'm impressed. I have to say I'm not surprised, because when you have a country like Emirates, United Emirates Arab, and you have leadership, and thank you, Minister, my dear friend Rima, to be with us, it's something that we were sure that is going to be a great success. And I think they were, as you say, betting for unifying minds, looking for sustainability for the new world, but also take into account what we are going to present to all of you is this sense of fraternity, mutual respect of how the world should be now and tomorrow, in order that we can live together in a better environment. So I'm very happy, and I think we have to unite our minds, but we have also to unite our heart, our souls, you know, in order that together we can really move forward. And of course, a great thank and gratitude to this cooperation between the BMW and the United Nations Alliance of Civilization. 10 years is our anniversary. 10 years of initiative. It's not normal that an initiative can be consolidated in this manner. So thank you, Ilka Horstmeier, for all your support, and well, let's enjoy the evening.
We will enjoy the evening, and we're also here to unite hearts and soul. That's wonderfully said. Ilka, what about you? Did you have the chance to explore a little bit?
Yes, definitely. Much too short, but we had a little walk around, and I've really have to admit that it was the perfect place to choose for the Intercultural Innovation Award, because you feel the connecting dots in that area here. And I think the German pavilion, I've just had a look at the German pavilion, and the German pavilion just represents everything we believe in the future could be, because it's, in our eyes, tech magic, human-centric, and sustainable. And I think you feel this in the German pavilion, but you also feel it on the Expo. And that's the reason why I'm so happy that we are here. And I think the 10th anniversary of the award is really a moment to celebrate. And we saw it in the video. 61 organizations were rewarded already, with an impact on about 5 million people. And I think that is really a very strong commitment. And I'm very glad that Miguel and myself are getting along so well, and I think we will definitely continue that cooperation.
Let me celebrate that with another round of applause. 10 years of partnership. Miguel Angel, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations was founded in 2005 by the former UN State Secretary Kofi Annan to overcome the polarization between societies and cultures. What exactly is so unique and groundbreaking about this partnership with the private sector?
I think we have to know ourselves, because Ilka and myself, we were not leading the two organizations in 2010 and 2011. Yes, I'm making my, they are 10 years, no, we are 2021, yes, time flies, you know. So we were not this responsibility post, but at that time, our predecessors have the vision and the courage to work in this interaction between the private and the public sector. And not only public and private sector, that today is something normal, but also when, yes, okay. That at the same time, there was the first attempt that a private company as important as BMW and the United Nations family started to work together. It was a kind of bet. We didn't know how we were going to develop this initiative. And after 10 years, we can be proud. We have been working with grassroots organizations around the world. We have seen the video. More than 120 countries are participating. 71 organizations have been awarded, and practically 5 million people have benefit of this project. So it's something that is real. It's not like diplomats or politicians sometimes we announce initiative. No, that is immediate translation into the ground. And people that are working in their communities, they are trying to improve the life of their neighbors, the people who are suffering, the people who are excluded, the people who need to be protected. So that's something that makes our organization extremely proud to have this private sector with public sector working together. It can be done, and we have proof, Ilka, that it's a success. So it's the way to go forward, and we hope we will continue in the next year for sure, enlarging our capacity building and enlarging our capacity to really demonstrate that we can live in a better world.
What a wonderful story it really is. Ilka, how did an automotive company really develop that idea of promoting intercultural understanding and a dialogue worldwide? It's not necessarily what a car manufacturer would do.
I think it's absolutely necessary, because we are a company operating in about 140 countries. We are a company operating more than 30 production and R&D sites worldwide. We are a company who works together with a lot of suppliers worldwide and with a lot of other cooperation partners worldwide. So, and last but not least, we have about 110 nations working at BMW. So intercultural understanding, mutual respect, and striving for a common goal is very, very much important for BMW. And with our social responsibility, we believe that what we need as BMW and what we can do good, we should share with our communities we are acting in. So that was the reason why we came up with the idea that with that award. And I think for us today, it's always magic to see the smiles in the face of the people in the video, and the impact they make every day with very small projects. But with the support of the United Nations and us, and also Accenture, they have the possibility to really build up on their capabilities, their leadership. And I think you all need to know that tonight is just the start of the support. The award is the starting point, but not the end of the journey, because everyone who is awarded tonight will join a one-year journey, And even after that 1 year of intensive support on the basis of a need analysis, they will join the Intercultural Leaders Network. And so they have the opportunity in the future to really connect with others and to spread their idea all around the world. And as the projects are so simple, they can be copied with pride.
That is a nice message, right? Projects that should be copied with pride. Now, Miguel Angel, let's talk for a moment about what is happening around the world. With COVID-19, actually, we have unfortunately too often seen that communities, societies didn't always come together. Sometimes there's really a divide in the population, which is very sad to see. What would you say needs to be done to overcome these challenges?
Well, COVID-19 has put in front of us what was the reality of the 21st century. Even we didn't want to see it before, even we were aware that the wars were going to be global, it's going to be complex, uncertain, with full of challenges, but COVID-19 came, make the world to stop, and then societies to react. So we have these two sides of the coin. The first is that we saw that the world is unique, is one humanity, as we say our motto in the United Nations, Lives of Civilization. The world is interconnected, interdependent, and it has been affected by a virus that affected our health, our life. But the first reaction was a positive reaction, solidarity, people trying to help each other. But then, internally, societies become to be confused, to be concerned, to be challenged by this disruption of our normal life. And then the concern and the fear that we were really putting our action in order to fight them appear. And we saw, unfortunately, how discrimination was in terms of race, no? In the United States, we saw how the Asian community was criticized only because the virus started in Asia, etc., etc. We see how societies started to behave in a way where this lack of mutual understanding, of respect, of fraternity were not, developed. It was not reinforced. So what have been a concrete conclusion of these very difficult years of COVID-19 is that we need to reinforce our mutual fabric in society, to reinforce social inclusion, to try to understand each other, and to have this common approach in order to really respond to this kind of situation. So it's a great lesson. We have to fight for that. The Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, is now preparing a new common agenda for how we are going to make the new international global governance in the world. And we have to introduce in this new momentum the values, the principle that both BMW and the United Nations Law Civilization are defending through concrete program and concrete action by this organization at the local level, at the community level.
It's really wonderful to see. It's really wonderful to see how you look at the crisis, but you see that opportunity right there in that moment. That is really inspiring. Ilke, what is your point of view? How do we overcome these challenges?
I think COVID has hit us quite hard, and we understood that the world is very interdependent and we are all dependent on each other. And I think that is a strength, on the other hand, and we shouldn't see it as a risk. I think that was for a long time the basis for prosperity, for growth, for many things. And what I see at the moment is that we need all our common strength to solve one big problem in the world, the climate change. And I think now it's even more important than ever that states, industry, sectors work closely together, understand each other, and strive for a common solution for this issue. So for me, that's the reason why I believe that the Intercultural Innovation Award is more relevant than ever in these times, because we don't need conflicts which are rising everywhere at the moment due to political interests, power interests, religious interests, and we need more unity now, because climate change has to unite us in responsibility.
And I have to say, you have gathered the perfect team to fight this challenge. So let me again congratulate both of you for this amazing partnership, 10 years, and for your invaluable contribution really on creating inclusive cultures and societies. Thanks to for your presence today. You will come back to the stage, but for now it is time to meet the awardees and explore the 10 winning projects. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Miguel Ángel Moratinos and Mrs. Ilka Horstmeier. What does the Intercultural Innovation Award mean to the awardees? It is more than just an award that offers a financial reward. The awardees form a community of inspiring, influential, and intercultural leaders that are all around the world. And yes, they do receive financial award, but that's not all. They benefit really from what Miguel Ángel said, right? From that capacity building and also from mentorship from the BMW Group, from UNAOC, and also from the consulting firm Accenture. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Accenture and welcome Mr. Roland Meyer, the Senior Managing Director of Accenture, for their contribution and also for their support. And now we will meet the leaders, the innovators, the minds behind the 10 selected projects. The first two projects that we'll introduce to all of you this evening operate in the space of promoting social inclusion and empowerment. So please welcome with me from India the Director and Chief Strategy Officer at MITI Social Initiative Foundation, Aisha Alam, with the project MITI Cafe, Inclusion with Every Meal, and from Mexico, the co-founder and CEO of La Cana Productos con Cosa, Daniela Anzira Ruiz, with the project Knitting a Better Future. Welcome. Aisha, Daniela, please. Welcome to the Intercultural Innovation Award. Welcome to Expo, and welcome, of course, also to the Campus Germany. So let's talk about your projects. Both of your projects operate in the space of promoting social inclusion and empowerment. Daniela, what was the inspiration and the motivation to start the initiative and the project?
Well, thank you very much for having me here. I'm overwhelmed with all this that you're doing for us. We started when I had the opportunity to visit a prison when I was a law student, and I got to know more about prisons and getting to know the undignifying conditions on which imprisoned women live, and that inspired me to do something about it.
And we had this morning a quick talk about her first experience in prison, and I asked her, just out of curiosity, weren't you scared? And you know what she said? I was scared the first moment, but then I realized they're all humans, and that's such a wonderful message. Aisha, how was it for you? How did you come to start the project and the initiative?
You know, 70 million people, persons with disability in India, and over 1 billion across the world. And I would say that, you know, the problem lies with the disability in our perception, which stops us from seeing the magic in their abilities. MITI Cafe's vision is economic independence and dignity for persons with disability, and we would want communities in India and across the world to be aware of disability inclusion. Thank you.
It's just wonderful. And when I hear these numbers, I'm literally speechless. So it's wonderful to see that somebody is doing something. And we'll now have a look at what Aisha and the team is doing at Miti Cafe in India.
Miti Cafe believes in creating empowerment through economic independence. The project provides experimental training and employment to adults with physical, intellectual, and developmental disabilities through the creation of inclusive cafes. Through the medium of food, these cafes create a visible and tangible model of inclusion. Miti Cafe's Inclusion in Every Meal project is a unique, interreligious and intercultural platform that empowers persons with disabilities to achieve economic independence and showcase their potential for productive activity. The employees create an impact with every meal they serve by helping eliminate hunger for the underprivileged and by helping deconstruct stereotypes around race, religion, and physical abilities. Miti wants to open 100 more cafes internationally and help people with disabilities join their community in order to overcome the stigma of disability by showcasing their talents to the world.
I have to say, I find the approach to look at creating awareness about inclusion through the medium of food really, really clever, because everybody loves food experiences. So can you tell us a little bit more how the medium of food really enables people to create more inclusive societies?
Yeah, so I would say food connects people to people, like you said, and we wanted to create a visible, tangible, and interactive model which people could see. And, this food is something which I think connects, it's a common denominator across civilizations. So, and we are generating livelihood and, creating, I would say, creating
creating food experiences.
Yeah, creating food experiences, and it's been just wonderful that we have been able to serve over 6 million meals and beverages till date and counting. So with every meal served, we are creating awareness about disability inclusion. And I would like to add that we started a special project called the Karuna Meals. Karuna means in Hindi, it's a word which means compassion. And we started this during COVID, and since then we have served over 2 million meals. And our persons with disability, they are on the field serving the poor and needy, the healthcare workers, the COVID-19 patients, their families, migrant workers. So here you have, people who are perceived to be in need, now serving people who are in need. So that is changing perceptions one meal at a time.
That is really changing the world. Now let's all go on a trip from India to Mexico and have a look at the work of Lacana.
Knitting a Better Future is an innovative initiative that helps incarcerated women get back on their feet. In Mexico, 1 out of 4 people released from prison go back to penitentiary institutions within the next 2 years. Lack of employment opportunities and qualifications for the job market of the formerly incarcerated population, and social stigma associated with imprisonment contribute to this high recidivism rate. La Cana is the only initiative in Mexico that develops a socio-economic model for female prisons. The program creates fair jobs and provides skills and income to incarcerated women through the creation of high-quality products. With activities in psychology, education, arts, culture, and sports, the project strengthens their human development inside the prison. And once released, the project helps with rehabilitation and social reintegration. The results so far are stunning. 100% of the beneficiaries have learned new skills, allowing 95% of them to get a job within 6 months upon release. Violent incidents inside the prisons also reduced, and the recidivism rate dropped.
Stunning results, as we just heard. And since 2016, you've been actually able to replicate the project in more than 4 women's prisons and supporting more than 350 women. So the question is really, was it your initial goal to transform the country's prisons?
Well, actually, it's 6 prisons now.
6?
Yes.
Wow.
And thank you. Well, at the beginning, our objective was to create or to bring income-generating activities and productive activities into women's prisons for them to earn an income to provide for themselves or their families while serving a sentence. But now, along the years, what we've seen is that we've really empowered women to create a life away from crime and away from violence. And I firmly believe that we are transforming my country's prisons into places of opportunity rather than places of punishment.
And there it is again, places of opportunity. As you can see, Daniela and Aisha are really changing the world, 1 cup of coffee, 1 knitted teddy bear at a time. That's just amazing to see. So ladies and gentlemen, please again, welcome and congratulate them for their wonderful achievements, Aisha and Daniela. Thank you for being with us. We cannot always build the future of our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. It was Franklin D. Roosevelt who said these words, and one of the missions of the next group of tonight's awardees is to empower the youth by inspiring them to have more empathetic and accepting and considerate conversations and to strive for peace, and to inspire the youth to become active members of society and be powerful agents for change. So now, please welcome from Egypt, the co-founder and president of the Mediterranean Youth Foundation, Yusuf Arouk, with the project Dialogue on the Human Fraternity document. From Sri Lanka, we welcome the co-founder and program director at Strengthening Youth Leadership Collective, Kishore Navaratnaraja, for the project Smart Advocates for effective dialogue to address grassroots conflicts. And from Brazil, we welcome the Leadership Formation Coordinator at Politici Civic Education Institute, Vinicius Zunino, with the project Politici Ambassadors Program, promoting civic empowerment for all. Welcome. Welcome, Yusuf, Kishore, Vinicius. Great to have you here. And look at your projects, because they all really strive to empower the youth, and that often in challenging environments and situations and conflicts. So I would like to ask you with maybe a little bit of a provoking question, but Vinicius, let me start with you. Don't you sometimes lose a little bit hope when you look at the challenges that are out there in the world, that the youth might be not able to turn that ship around?
Of course not. So I will give you some example. We have some studies in Brazil that show us that youth people want to be part of change, the social positive change. So many times they don't know how to be part of it. So we just need to show the tools, the ways for youth people be part of transformation. So I know that we will change these issues that we have in our world.
You have the faith and the trust. Kishore, what is your view?
Yeah, you know, like there is nothing without challenges, right? And here, the people sitting with me, my fellow awardees, are the are the solutions for those challenges. And every change makers and change-making organizations have their own process, and that is the solution, I would say. Obviously it takes time, right? It takes time, and especially when working with young people, we need to be bit innovative and be creative, and yeah, to sustain them, and also it creates the lasting change. Yeah, that's my feeling.
Creating a lasting change. Yusuf, do you also see that's the solution to turn that ship around?
Yes, definitely we as young people are facing increasing challenges every day. But I'm sure that if we get empowered and trusted on the families levels on the first, and then our government levels, and then in the international community, I'm sure we can overcome these challenges.
It's wonderful to hear that you have faith in the spirit. Now let's look at your projects. And first we'll have a look at Yusuf's and the work of his team of the Mediterranean Youth Foundation in Egypt.
The initiative builds upon the document on human fraternity for world peace and living together, signed by Pope Francis of the Catholic Church and Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayeb, Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, in 2019. The project creates a space for dialogue among Arab youth to build peaceful and inclusive societies. It addresses issues including unconscious bias, bullying, and the escalation of hate speech through 18 workshops and activities on the concept of peace, security, and conflict resolution. They have already gathered 79 changemakers in 1 year. The project also supports youth-led local initiatives by building capacity for activists to support them in developing their own projects. The initiative aims to build a network between organizations, as well as a platform for alumni across the world to unite those who want to make a change.
It's wonderful to see how you emotionally touched. That's your work, and we're really proud of that. Your project serves really as the first youth dialogue in the world on the document of human fraternity for world peace and living together. So which approaches do the change makers and activists that you have gathered implement to promote change and then also to build these peaceful and inclusive societies?
In fact, we as young people are seeing in the human fraternity document the future we are hoping and we are looking for. For that, we decided to plan, design, and implement the first youth dialogue in the world about this document. In order to achieve this, we use 5 different approaches, but I would only share 2 of them. The first approach is the capacity building. We gather young people from different cities in Egypt to train them, provide them with the needed information, needed skills, in order to transfer the principles of the human fraternity document by outdoor activities and non-formal activities. The second approach is youth-led initiatives. We empower young people by providing financial support, legal support, mentorship, networking, all they need in order to lead local initiatives tackling one of the principles in the human fraternity document. Because I do believe that we, as young people, knowing about ourselves more than others. And these approaches wouldn't be achieved at all without the unlimited support from His Excellency the Chancellor Mohammed Abdus Salam, the General Secretary of the Higher Committee on the document, and also Dialogue Center for Kaisid in Vienna, and also our governments actually in Egypt to support such an initiative, and the young person coming from Sinai Desert in Egypt.
Absolutely wonderful. A very sophisticated approach, and we definitely will learn later on when our conversations with you about the other approaches that you use. Now let's take a look at your work, Kishore, and what the team of SYLC does to empower the youth in Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka, Smart Advocates strives to transform conflict through technology and dialogue building between communities and local governments in order to build sustainable peace. The program trains those with the passion to engage in effective advocacy to address grassroots conflicts to build a better Sri Lanka. The idea is to link young aspiring photographers with the communities and the interfaith leaders to bring about dialogue and reconciliation. During field visits, the young photographers learn to take pictures that express the root cause of the conflicts. SMART then organizes exhibitions to pursue the dialogue with the local stakeholders and governments to advocate for change. The project also envisions a digital platform for advocacy to bring the discussion online and combat prejudice. 180 youth have been trained and are now acting against hate speech and misinformation on social media platforms. Smart Advocates strengthen citizens of all ages to become citizen advocates using their camera or smartphones.
Kishore, the project which SYLC has created aims to really transform the conflict also through technology, as we just heard. So how does the program work and stimulate peace building and reconciliation work in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so like in general, we work with underserved communities often. But this pandemic, actually that proved that, digital is everywhere and technology is everywhere, using smartphone. But often, the grassroots conflicts neglected because there are several other conflicts and that needs to be resolved, right? So comparatively, we often neglect the small scale ground level conflicts. So that Smart Advocates is a training program to train young people on visual storytelling. And we thought how we can, transform it as a digital tool where everyone can advocate without any disparities, right? So there are people who cannot participate in training program or to travel and advocate. That's not possible in certain circumstances, and we want to break that, right? So this digital platform, actually, we had two aspects to do that, because as human, we often, forgets when we advocate for one challenge, and when another new challenge comes, we forget the previous one, right? So to avoid that, and also the other aspect is to protecting our identities. As young people, we often have that challenge, the safety and identity issues. So to do that, so we have developed this platform which reminds us to completely advocate for an issue, and to ensure the sustainable way of solving the grassroots conflict. So that's how it happens, because mostly the problems how we advocate once the grassroots conflict escalated as a violent conflict. So these platforms at the very beginning ensures to solve this at the very grassroots level. So that's how this tool works.
Solve it right at the start. Now let's look at the final project of this category, which is inspiring the youth through Policise, with its ambassador program to promote civic empowerment for all in Brazil.
Promoting civic empowerment for all provides knowledge, training, and experiences to build the next generation of well-informed and active citizens. To counter declining levels of civic engagement, Politice works to form a generation which embodies the democratic ethos and believes in its core values of freedom, dialogue, common good, and respect for differences. The program empowers thousands of people every year through civic education workshops where they develop public solutions for their own community's issues, forming new civic leaders along the way. Participants are also exposed to a variety of citizens who hold different political views but share a common goal: strengthening democracy. The program currently has 180 volunteers in 55 hubs throughout Brazil. It reached more than 100,000 people with civic education workshops and trained 865 citizens who are now committed to strengthen the democratic process in their country.
And when you look up this project on Instagram, you find out that you have 101,000 followers. So that already shows you how active you are. Absolutely. Absolutely worth an applause. So let me ask you this. What is the vision that you and the team and the project has for Brazil and the youth of the country?
Well, due to less political participation and political culture in Brazil, Brazil is considered as a flawed democracy. Who say this is the Economist Democratic Index. So our vision is we will just strengthen Brazil's democracy if we could empower people, empower youth to be part of local democracy. So we have a vision to reach all the Brazilian citizens and give them tools to be possible youth people be part of the local change, and then we change Brazil's democracy.
Wow. And we can see exactly why you are not worried that we can turn this ship around by empowering the youth. So allow me all to wrap up the conversation with you with another quote that I found from Gracia Machel. Preventing the conflicts of tomorrow means changing the mindset of the youth today. And this is what all of you do with your inspiring work and your outstanding projects. So ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause and congratulations to all of you for your work and dedication. Art. Art has the ability to bring out emotions. Art has the ability to bring people together and to collaborate. And art also has the ability to bring messages to others, regardless of their cultural background and heritage. Art, actually, in its broadest sense, is a form of communication. And now we look with the next category at the use of arts for social change and awareness. And here are the awardees. From Germany, the managing director at Spielen in der Stadt and a member of the board of directors, Alexander Wenzlik, with the project Always Remember, Never Forget. And from Nigeria, the founder and lead visionary at Street Project Foundation, Rita Ezenwa Okoro, with the project Creative Youth Bootcamp, Arts for Social Transformation. Welcome to the stage. Welcome. Welcome, Rita. So, before we dive into your category, a little personal comment. When I look at the nationalities that you represent in the countries, this is me. My mother's from Germany, my dad's from Nigeria, so I feel already connected to both of you and your work. So we're going to have a really great conversation here. I would like to start really from the beginning and understand, what is your connection, Rita, with arts?
Thank you, Flo, for asking that question. But before I answer that question, I just need to express my gratitude to the BMW Group and UNAOC for this great honor to be here, elevating Street Project Foundation from local relevance to global prominence. So thank you so much. My relationship with the arts started way back as a child, living in Fifth Avenue, Festival Town, Lagos, Nigeria. At this time of the year, we would have a youth leader who would prepare the children for theater performances for what we call the close party. In some countries, it's called block parties, right? And I usually was one of the kids who would sing, who would dance, who would perform. And it went on and on. I sang in the choir, I performed on stage in different communities, and it was community and the performing arts. After reflecting, you know, as an older kid, that it helped develop soft skills such as critical thinking, communication skills, and skills that have made me ready for the work of development and change management today. Thank you.
Definitely what these skills do, get you ready for the world. Alexander, what is your connection with arts?
Yes, I have two connections, I can say this. Me, myself, I'm a Buto dancer and also dance pedagogue. And let me tell you this, Buto is a dance that is coming from Japan. And in this dance, the individuality of each dancer counts a lot. And this is the same in my work with young children and teenagers. There's a quote of Gabriel Ross who expressed what I'm thinking. There's a dance that only you can do. And this is what I truly believe, that, let's say, in everybody, in all of us, is a specific, a unique dance. And especially in the work with children and young teenagers, I try to figure out how to help them to develop and to find and to express their own. And this is my access to art, especially through dance, to give young children and teenagers the opportunity to express themselves through their own body and to their own dance language.
That is one comment for all of us to remember. Everybody has their unique dance. Now, let's take a look at your work and at the project. Always remember, never forget.
Always remember, never forget. Believes in promoting sports, arts, and culture to foster social change. The project invites people from all walks of life to explore history through an immersive experience, using an artistic and performative approach. In Germany and throughout Europe, extremists spread their ideology of racism, xenophobia, discrimination, and exclusion. Ideas that impact everyone, regardless of age, gender, nationality, or belief. To help remember the lessons of history, Always Remember, Never Forget strives to make it available to everybody. The project implements new approaches to deal with the history of National Socialism and the Holocaust, such as the use of body language and film to physically experience places and buildings where violence occurred in the past. This confrontation with the Nazi era helps participants promote diversity and inspire them to stand up for the peaceful coexistence of all people living in Germany.
What a stunning amount of creativity you can see in your work. I would like to ask you this. The topic and objective and mission of your project are, of course, very, very relevant today. But are the younger generations actually able to connect to the project and the chapter in history that is 70 years ago in the past?
Yeah, this is a question I have very often because it's so obvious to ask this and because it's also a big challenge to do this. But before I answer, I would like to say one other thing. I think we are living in a time where we have again the uprising of racism, of anti-Semitism, of nationalism, and we have also a lot of hate speech and violence, especially in Germany, for example, against minorities and also especially against Jewish people. And I think we cannot accept this as a society. And this is what we try to figure out with the young people. And the answer to your question is yes, we can find a way for them to enter the history. And I think we can do this because of our special way of doing it. Because we are doing it on one way, using the body. So that means we give them the opportunity to find their own access, from their own motivation, from their own interest, and with their own, how to say, body experience. So this is very important. We don't tell them things, we don't teach them just things, we don't read them books or showing them movies or guide them to exhibitions. We let them find an own way in the discussion with this hard area of the NS time. And a second thing is that we strongly work together with the NS Documentation Center, and they give the young people the opportunity to have a research on their own in the the archive of the NS Documentation Center. So there's a profound knowledge, and the young people have the chance to achieve this on their own. And I hope I have the time. I would like to share one really touching story of the last project, where the young people work together with a time witness. It's called Ernst Grube. He is a survivor of the Holocaust, and he was living as a child in a camp of the NS time. And we were working in this camp today, and we make with the young people a dance and film performance upon this history. And Ernst Grube himself was part of the performance, and in the performance I was sitting right beside him, watching himself, watching the performance. He was part of himself about his own history, and this simultaneity of the time was so touching, and I hope this little example can show also a part of the answer to your question, because the young people after the project says to us, I will never forget the experience in the working together with the time witness Ernst Grube.
And that is inspiration. That is really inspiration for the youth. Now let's take a look at your work, Rita, and see what the Street Project Foundation in Nigeria does.
What if theatre and radio could be the catalysts for change in Nigeria? Art for Social Transformation believes creative art is a vehicle to confront gender inequalities, xenophobia, and violent extremism. By creating a safe space called Reflection Sessions, where young creators from over 200 ethnic groups are invited to talk freely about issues that threaten them, the program empowers them to share real-life experiences free from judgment. These stories are the basis for the scripts that the project develops, which are turned into theatre performances and radio drama series on issues focusing on diversity, inclusion, human rights, and social justice during a 6-week workshop. Art is used as a tool for building a movement where pluralism and global citizenship thrive. It presents young people with a platform to take a stand and move the needle on social issues in Nigeria.
There's just so much joy, passion, and excitement in your work. When you see that, you want to be in that video. Well, let me ask you, in the reflection sessions, the participants translate their stories into public speaking, theater, dance, and art. So how do then these creative workshops bring social transformation to the country?
Thank you for that question, Flo. It's important to understand the context in which we're working. Nigeria is a country of over 200 million people, right? With over 250 ethnic groups, and we speak over 500 languages. And 70% of our population are made up of young people under the ages of 35 years old. And so the play and performance creates an opportunity through the reflection sessions where we create a circle of trust where our young people, through a social therapeutic approach, feel comfortable to share their stories and address issues that they care about, like gender-based violence, police brutality, ethnic and religious rivalry, and violence in the country in such a way that is constructive. And they're able to co-create a world that they want to see. They perform it until it becomes a reality for them, such that when we're done with the program, they move on to their communities and become the change agents in their communities using the tools and the skills that they learn during the Creative Youth Bootcamp to impact their communities through dance, through theater, through radio drama, and so on. And so it's so impactful to changing our world because we're creating a space where young people can talk about serious issues in such a way that is easy to listen. And in that process, they are learning soft skills like listening, understanding one another, team building, critical thinking, which are also, by extension, tools that they need for the world of work in a country where the poverty rate is at its highest. Thank you.
Well, to me, it really sounds once you open their hearts and souls, anything is possible and change can really happen. That's great to see. Now, with two such passionate and talented individuals, we should actually do an intercultural dance performance on the stage, but we're not going to do that because we have one more category. So I would like to thank you for your work and congratulate you both for winning the Intercultural Innovation Award. And we get to the final group of nominees for the Intercultural Innovation Award 2021, which focuses on creating inclusive communities. From Canada, we have the CEO of Peace Geeks, Jennifer Freeman, with the project Arrival Advisor. From France, we have the founder and head of innovation at Place Network, Charlotte Hoschmann, with the project Emerging Leaders. And from Switzerland, we welcome the program manager of Initiatives of Change International, Talia Smith, with the project International Trust Building. Welcome. Welcome again. Now, let me ask you this. Creating inclusive communities is definitely a challenging undertaking. And from your experience, would you say there's a difference between cultures and countries in creating these communities? Talia, what is your point of view?
I think so, Flo, yes. Like, to a large extent, each different region in a country and the communities, they have their own culture, and we have to think of their work and adapt to that specific culture. We work very, very locally, so our approach is contextualized to each local culture, each local community, taking into account their culture and their needs. Then on the other hand, we work through a human-centered approach. So we look at how we work with individuals is at the heart of our work. So that really transcends national boundaries.
Charlotte, well, if you want to clap at any time.
I resonate with that. I would also say that there are rituals and mechanisms across cultures and across countries that we have seen that people develop to create equality between people and to create inclusive societies. It's these mechanisms that transcend cultures that I'm interested in, because I think that they are a tool that we can adapt in many contexts to build more cohesive societies in practice.
Absolutely. And Jennifer.
Yeah, I agree with elements of both what Talia and Charlotte have both said. I mean, it's undeniable with globalization and climate change that future societies will be increasingly diverse. So this question about how do we foster intercultural integration and understanding in different countries, I think to be successful, you absolutely have to take the context into account and understand what inclusion looks like in different environments. And I also agree with what Charlotte was saying, that at the core of our work, as I know others as well, is that humans have certain aspects that are completely shared across us. Our desire for agency, to have agency over our own journey, to have our identities recognized and honored, and to feel a sense of belonging in the places and societies in which we end up calling home.
Wow. I am translating what you three are saying really into acting local but thinking human. That's really what it is for me. Now let's take a look at your work with the Peace Geeks in Canada, who use technology to create an inclusive community. And here is how the project Arrival Advisor works.
Arrival Advisor built an innovative way to help newcomers settle in Canada. In British Columbia alone, immigration has risen by 24% since 2001. Yet research showed that over 35% of immigrants are not aware of the services available to them. The sea of information available to newcomers can be very confusing, and many settlement services and resource centres closed in response to COVID-19. The Arrival Advisor app wants to fill that gap and put reliable information directly into the hands of the newly arrived. They developed a free app available in 8 languages that connects immigrants and refugees to trusted settlement and service information, so they can access resources personalized to their needs both anonymously and offline. Arrival Advisor provides accessible information on a variety of topics such as healthcare, education, and family planning. The team strives to keep newcomers' needs central in all that they do.
What a project, and very different from the others that we've seen so far. And it is a technology project, so let's talk scale. Scale is always perfect for technology. It seems to be perfect to be replicated anywhere around the world. Do you have any plans to take the Arrival Advisor global?
I think Arrival Advisor absolutely has the potential to be replicated in other countries of the world. We see these challenges of information and similarities in settlement journeys everywhere in the world. I would just add the caution that it needs to be done intelligently. Many of the principles that are used in tech design a lot of times, failing fast and rapid prototyping, can work very well in business contexts. But when you're looking at transforming a social issue, especially one as complex as intercultural integration, you need to do it with humans at the center of your work. We have a saying at Peace Geeks that all tech is human, and the importance of keeping humans at the center of our design, working with and through partners like newcomers, settlement organizations, local government, to make sure that any solution we create is really meeting their needs and doing so ethically. The best algorithms can only be created if you know what questions to ask. So I absolutely hope it can be scaled across Canada and replicated to other countries as long as humans stay at its center.
Well, we will definitely keep an eye out, and you also have now the support of the BMW Group, of Accenture, and of course of the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations to get your project out into the world.
For which I'm grateful.
Now, after learning about a digital solution to promote an inclusive community, we're now taking a look at Place, how they enable newcomers to become leaders.
Where do ideas come from? They come from others.
Emerging Leaders believes in the power of migrants and refugees to bring fresh solutions to the pressing issues of our time and become full contributors to their host societies. To do so, the program works with newcomers in Europe to help them become credible public leaders and influential contributors to the public debate in their societies. To develop this new inclusive model of leadership, Emerging Leaders creates what they called catalysts. People who have recently settled in Europe and have the drive and potential to bring other people around them to form communities. Catalysts, in turn, train other newcomers to expand the community of future decision makers. They also connect at the global level through immersive events and learning platforms, creating a worldwide network connecting communities to share knowledge and celebrate shared identities. Over the past 3 years, Emerging Leaders has built the capacity of 70 catalysts in 17 European countries who change the narrative on migration and create lasting bridges between cultures.
Well, Charlotte, when you usually think about immigration and newcomers, how they're integrated into a society, it's usually all about learning a language, finding a job, maybe helping them to have a social environment. But effectively, this is where your work only starts. Can you elaborate on your approach?
That's a beautiful description, actually. So Place, the organization that carries Emerging Leaders, was created partly in reaction to the mainstream media narratives around 2015, which really pictured migration as a burden to host societies. This triggered at best a humanitarian approach. Emerging Leaders really is built on the counterpoint of this perception of migration. The idea is that Europe has a beautiful dream of equality, but it has difficulty today to know how to create this in practice. And we need new voices to be able to help this dream to become a reality. So putting that next to, on the other side, the desire for newcomers or refugees, asylum seekers to Europe to develop their full potential in host societies, it seemed like an equation to us that made sense. One point that I would like to emphasize is that a public leader, so a new voice in the making, and as such an emerging leader, cannot take a position on what others would want them to necessarily. So minorities around the world are often called to represent their category of people, and that is also a paradox that we find in the work that we do in public leadership. So a refugee that becomes an emerging leader and that does penetrate circles of power in Europe and of public leadership might be interested in transforming the way that migration happens in Europe, but they might also be interested and more interested by gender rights or climate action or the way that technology needs to be shaped in order for the world to go in the right direction. And that is absolutely important to create a real eye-level interaction, is that people and especially leaders come with their own motivation and their own potential to develop their solutions, and a new voice needs to be self-determined.
I have to say the outcome of your project reminds me a little bit what we heard about the project of Aisha in India, because it's all about helping people to reach their full human potential. That's really inspiring. Now, let's look at the last project of this category and how initiatives of change impact communities around the entire world.
The Trust Building Program believes trust is the foundation for developing healthy communities. The project inspires and equips people with the values and skills needed to build mutual care across divides, heal historical wounds through honest conversations, and develop new networks to foster peace and social cohesion. The Trust Building Program addresses religious divides in Kenya, the rise of extremist attitudes in France and Indonesia, hate speech and discrimination in Canada, community breakdown in South Africa, racism in Australia, and mistrust and inequality in Nepal. 4 new countries will be taken on in 2022. The program's tools include interethnic dialogues, workshops, outreach activities, and sport. It gives participants inspiration, skills, confidence, and connections needed to be trust builders in their local community. Through their actions, Trust Building Program wants to play a part in the wider conflict prevention agenda.
Talia, you have a framework and a methodology that works and that offers a way forward to communities in conflict. Can you tell us a little brief framework and how it works?
Sure, thanks for the question, Flo. So Initiatives of Change works to make the connection between personal and societal change. So we believe that change starts with oneself. So we inspire individuals to take positive changes in their own communities, and we work with sharing personal stories and other means for that. We also build diverse networks of stakeholders that are committed to building trust in their communities, because you have to have everyone in the room. You have to have the women, the youth, the business leaders, government officials, media, migrants, everyone to feel like they have a stake in the problem, and then also to work to be part of the solution with it. And then as part of the looking at intercultural dialogues, we work with creating safe spaces where people can really share their voice openly. And then looking at elements like historical wounds. So how do you look at the different narratives that are present in a conflict? And how do you take care of those and also share openly around these historical wounds? And it's really, you know, we work on collective healing, personal trauma. So it's deep work and it's really challenging. So this award is really a testimony to our 7 teams because they do the hard work on the ground. And we're in it for the long haul. We build authentic relationships over time. And it takes, the time and commitment and the dedication to build trust across the world's divides.
And there it is again. It takes time and commitment, and that's really what every single awardee demonstrates with their work. So we have come to the end of our conversation, but not yet to the end of the awards. So please allow me to give another round of applause to all of your work and congratulate you. So before we now move to the highlight, of course, of this evening and hand over the Intercultural Innovation Award, we would like to take a moment and thank no one else than the jury, because they were enthusiastic and committed in actually identifying the projects that are here today. And our appreciation goes out to every single one of the jury members. And now with great pleasure, I'm introducing you to the head of the jury who contributed immensely to the Intercultural Innovation Award over the last 9 years, and of course also to the selection process of this year's awardee. So, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Barry Van Driel. Welcome. Welcome, Barry. I mean, to you, this is almost business as usual, isn't it?
Thank you so much. And I guess I'm the icing on the cake tonight. Maybe that's the wrong metaphor. I think you should see me and the other members of the jury as basically the microscope or the magnifying glasses in this project.
The microscope or the magnifying glasses. Well, can you actually share a few words about the jury and how the jury was gathered for the Intercultural Innovation Award 2021?
I have to say that in general, if you go back the last 9 years, Flo, that UNAOC and the BMW group has been very effective, very successful in finding a jury that really is very diverse from different places on the planet that has different backgrounds. Some of us have an education background, so really focusing on educational issues. Some of us on corporate social responsibility. Some of us in different areas. So they've always been very successful at that. When I say this magnifying glass, what I mean by that is we all have a slightly different colored lens in that magnifying glass. So given our backgrounds, what we do is from our own cultural background, from our own experiences, we've looked at all these projects. So this year's jury, by the way, which is quite diverse, I'm from the Netherlands, then we have Canada represented, the United States, Nigeria, and Indonesia. So an incredible diversity. Also in terms of gender, we have that diversity.
So you had a great jury. They all had the magnifying glasses, and you needed that because you had over 1,100 applications from 120 countries. I mean, these are huge numbers. What were the criteria then to actually select the awardees?
You know, I wish I could say that I looked at all 1,100, but luckily, BMW and the UNAOC should be thanked for doing the first selection. And that first selection narrowed it down to 31 projects. And I have to say that those 31 were also very diverse in every possible way. But we had the responsibility of taking our magnifying glasses and looking carefully at each one of these projects based on a number of criteria. Now, those criteria it's an Intercultural Innovation Award. So is it truly intercultural? Is there an element that really brings communities together? Is there an element that really empowers? And we've heard that throughout these presentations, that all of these 10 do that. Intercultural innovation, are they innovative or not? And then we were looking at sustainability, difficult sometimes. We had great projects, but we didn't think they were sometimes sustainable. We looked at, I already mentioned, to what extent is it intercultural? We looked at the budget. Is the budget feasible in these projects? And we looked at a variety of other dimensions to see how strong is this proposal? How was it written? So these are the things that we really looked at in these projects. And throughout all this, we tried to be as professional as we could. And it's not easy.
And it is not easy. And I want to actually ask you about that. When you have 31 great projects, and as you said this morning, they all put a smile on your face, is it then actually easy to say, well, unfortunately, we can't select this project?
I think, you know, when we first would look at these different projects, at least I speak for myself, I can't speak for the other jury members, I didn't know who they were, and I only found out 2 days ago who the other jury members were. And I think it's good that way. This way we could be independent. But I think the first thing that I looked at as I first read through it is looking, and they all expressed that so well tonight. I was looking at the inspiration. I was looking at the creativity. I was looking at the innovativeness of these projects. After the first reading, going through it again, really looking at those other dimensions I just mentioned. So for instance, what was really difficult sometimes, a really strong proposal that really put that smile on your face, I had multiple aha moments. How did they do that? They really accomplished that. It's incredible. And this is not only sustainable, but this can be replicated in other contexts, and that's also really important. But strength is not everything. We were really looking at that creativity, really looking at the innovation in these projects. After all, like I said, it is the Innovation Award. So I'll just end with that.
And your description really just makes you understand who these awardees that we have here in this reading room are, and also what they have achieved. So thank you very much to you, Barry, for your work.
Thank you.
And please stay with us for one quick moment, because I would now like to welcome back Ms. Ilka Horstmeier and Your Excellency Miguel Angel Moratinos. Welcome back to the stage.
Thank you.
So my question to both of you is right now, of course, you were familiar with the projects, you already looked at them, but now that you saw the projects in video, you saw everybody in person on stage, what were your thoughts? What were your feelings, Ilka?
Yeah, it's, when you look at the projects just on the paper, they are a little bit theoretical. Yeah, and now after seeing the videos, after seeing the people behind the projects, for me it's, you feel the passion, you feel the responsibility and the impact. And I really got goosebumps when I saw the videos. So thank you for a lot of emotions tonight.
That is really wonderful to hear. And I could also feel the goosebumps. Miguel Angel, how was it for you?
Well, I think it has been a magic night, a magic evening. We have listened to the voice of women, the voice of disabled, the voice of migrant, the voice of refugees, the voice of Democrat, the voice of art and music, the voice of people who wants to live together, and all of that with, as the president of the jury said, with this meaning of intercultural spirit and this innovation. Innovation not only in technology, because not only technology are innovated, also in their minds, because they are proposing creative initiative. And so I think today we can go at least, I'm sure, Elka, I will go back to the hotel extremely happy, more optimistic. We are going to win this battle and we'll have a better world. Thanks to all of you and congratulations to the awardees.
I think we all go home with the feeling that if you make a step and if many people make steps, you can change the face of the world.
We absolutely can. And Barry, also from your side, I'd love to hear, how did it feel for you to actually meet everybody here?
It was of course exceptional, but I have one last thing to say is that I think those of us that were members of the jury were privileged, extremely privileged. I had the privilege of meeting everybody. The other jury members had the privilege of leading 31 very strong proposals, and especially these 10. And I would invite everybody to do what we did. Look carefully at each one of these proposals. Be inspired by these proposals. Learn more about the individuals behind these proposals and take further action after tonight. So don't just leave it at tonight. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your words and also for your commitment. Now we have come to the moment where we hand over the awards. And here are now the 10 awardees of the 2021 Intercultural Innovation Award. So let's get started with the project Miti Cafe, Inclusion with Every Meal from India, Aisha Alam. And the next project, Knitting a Better Future from Mexico, Daniela Anzira Ruiz. The project, Dialogue on the Human Fraternity Document, Egypt, Yusuf Aroub. The project Smart Advocates for Effective Dialogue to Address Grassroots Conflicts from Sri Lanka, Kijot Navaratnaraja. The project Politize, Ambassadors Program promoting civic empowerment for all. From Brazil, Vinicius Zunino. To hand over the next award, I would like to invite to the stage Mr. Roland Meyer, Senior Managing Director at Accenture. Welcome. And the project, Always Remember, Never Forget. From Germany, Alexander Wenzlig. Roland, thank you very much for your contribution and for your support with Accenture. Thank you for being with us. The project, Creative Youth Bootcamp, Arts for Social Transformation from Nigeria, Rita Nzenwa Okoro. The project, Arrival Advisor from Canada, Jennifer Freeman. The project, Emerging Leaders from France, Charlotte Hoschmann. And the last but certainly not least project, International Trust Building, Switzerland, Talia Smith. With this last award, we have unfortunately come to the end of today's show. But wasn't it a fantastic one, Ilka?
It was absolutely fantastic. I think the location we chose for this award ceremony was incredible. And as I said at the beginning, connecting minds, creating future is also a fantastic motto for the Expo and also for what we saw tonight. So thank you, Miguel. It was a pleasure to be with you on stage. And I think we're looking forward to the next 10 years.
Absolutely. Thank you to all of you, and thank you to awardees and the people that are not with you. I think you have a thought about all the people who work on the ground with your initiative. So thank you to the people who come, thank you to our Master of Ceremony, and thank you to the President of the jury. Thank you to Accenture that are supporting the project, and thank you, Ilka, to being here. You know, it's a very important person. I'm a UN, but she's the one who really leads, you know, the European New Innovation Project. BMW has, of course, a tremendous challenge and commitment about climate change, but she's the one who defends also not only to save the planet, but also to save the humanity. And BMW is working on the two tracks. So thank you very much, and thank you for continuing our cooperation.
Thanks really to both of you and both organizations for your commitment, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations and the BMW Group for this partnership, and as you said it, to the next 10 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us here in person or virtually all around the world. Don't forget to follow us, of course, on social media and tag, post, share, learn about the awardees. The hashtag is IIAwards2021. And we hope that you all really had a bit of inspiration and a bit of impact with all of the selected awardees. With this, we wish you all a wonderful evening. We hope to see you all for the 2022 edition of the Intercultural Innovation Award. And stay safe and have a good night. Thank you.